Hey guys, what's up? This is your boy Rick back again with another little video that I wanted to do about something called intrapreneurship with an I as opposed to entrepreneurship with an E. It's the rise of the intrapreneur is the video I'm doing. Just about an entrepreneur being someone who displays entrepreneur tendencies, but within a company, within a job, even within a job. And I want to talk to you about why this is really important. This is really needed because do you know that you know 10 years ago Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix, but somebody in that job was just like, no, that's not the way we do business. We don't want to do that, and the rest is history. Now Netflix has basically disrupted the business model of Blockbuster, and Blockbuster is out of business. And so many companies are realizing the need to have people working inside them who think like an entrepreneur. Even though you work in a company, so you're not quit your job and become an entrepreneur like that full time, but you think like an entrepreneur, and that is what I call being an intrapreneur. So, let's get on with this because an entrepreneur, it's the unique position when you can see the matrix of entrepreneurship, all the good things that entrepreneurship does. And then you take them and you can apply them into your work, your business, your organization that you already need. You don't need to go quit your job. Maybe you can't even afford to quit your job, which is the position that most people are in. So it's possible to be a sales manager in a company but think like an entrepreneur. It's possible to be a doctor in a hospital and think like an entrepreneur. It's possible to be a shift manager at a McDonald's and think like an entrepreneur. And that's what I'm just going to show you today. You see, most people go to work just to clock in and just get it done and just clock in, and then they start counting the seconds. I think this is just ridiculous. We spend so much of our day at work. It's not worth just counting down the sands of our time and our life just because in a crappy job. But instead, if you go there and apply yourself, you can really, really enjoy your time while you're at work. If you're gonna spend a third of your day, 8 hours out of your day, you're gonna spend in an office, in a workplace, you may as well just enjoy it, guys. You may as well enjoy it. So this is why being an entrepreneur is good. So why is it important to think like an entrepreneur in the 21st century? Now, it's important because, first of all, the age of just large corporations kind of taking care of people and ruling everything, it went away last century. In the industrial age, yeah, these companies were making so much money that they would kind of just make us all, just promise us, oh, if you work for me for 40 years, I'll take care of you. But many people are realizing now that that's not sustainable. A lot of these companies are no longer paying the pensions that they used to. A lot of them are no longer rewarding you for staying there. So a lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs. The rise of the entrepreneur is here. And a lot of little, smaller, nimble companies are coming in and turning established industries on their head. So many entrepreneurs and small business people are coming into the mix. A lot more people are working for small businesses rather than working for a big corporation. So all of this is, you've got to understand this. And so when you see the trend, you've got to think in a way that gets them. It brings me to a point where, if more entrepreneurs are entering the market, these become potential customers for you. Let's say you are in a big company, and before you would think about getting, either marketing to the masses or marketing to other big companies. Now, with more entrepreneurs who are in the mix, there's a lot more people who are in your sea of potential customers, so you can actually give them services. Do you know how many network marketers, for example, are out there now? And a lot of people who are in network marketing are looking for various services, and they're willing to pay because they're entrepreneurs. They understand the value of paying for stuff, so they're willing to pay. Education, good products, great equipment, whatever it is. A lot of people are looking at it. You know how many amateur real or even like small real estate investors they now are. Do you know how many self-employed people are just going self-employed? Do you know how many affiliate marketers are out there and internet marketers? There is a lot of opportunity. So if you're in a job, it would it would bode you well to kind of just think, oh, so how do these guys think? What do they need? And start anticipating their needs, start anticipating their requirements, and then tailoring what you do in your job to get them. Your boss will thank you for it. Your boss will love you for this thing. And the last thing about why becoming an entrepreneur is a good thing is the more when you become an entrepreneur, you make yourself indispensable to your business in your job. You make yourself you add another dimension to the way you work that will make you much more valuable to your current employer. So your boss will reward you for this, either through promotions, or through pay rises and whatnot. Even getting another job. You can even like create another job within your department for yourself. Imagine, anyway. One thing I would always speak about is like the people who I've seen who create the different ideas. They then end up heading a new department. They get given their own budget. Their salary increases. This is why you think like an entrepreneur. But even if, let's say your boss is a selfish jerk and maybe he feels threatened by you becoming an entrepreneur, even if your company they still let you go, you will be snapped up so quickly by another entrepreneur, by other bosses, because they see that indispensable quality you have and you've built in yourself as you became an entrepreneur. That's why you should become it. Oh, the truth is, guys, entrepreneurs are taking over. You know, they're just taking over the wealth as wealth creators in our new in our new political and economic landscape. And you got to preempt them, think about it, think differently, think in their shoes. What do they need? What are their requests? You can build like your career around serving entrepreneurs, because they're not going anywhere. you know if you don't learn how to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be left behind by the times. Do you know how many businesses in the last 20 years have gone out of business because they got big businesses? They went out of business because they got romantic about how they make money. They've become obsolete. They're not really serving people. That's because they got romantic about how they used to make their money. But think like an entrepreneur. You can take your business to the next level. You can be those people whose business then becomes fluid and can serve even in different times. So, you know, here's a few ways. I like to give a few practical ways. Here's a few practical ways that you can think like an entrepreneur in your job right now, and that you could add to your repertoire of skills, and it will really help you. Now, if you see this, make sure you like the page, see more videos and articles that I do concerning things like this. If you feel, you are an entrepreneur or you want to become an entrepreneur, make sure to comment, make sure to like the page, make sure to like the video, even send me a message. I'm always like, just helping people and saying, yeah, helping people out. But let me know. I'd love your feedback. I want you to see more of these videos. So number one, the way entrepreneurs think that you can add to your repertoire of skills is entrepreneurs invent, innovate, and create. So the invention and innovation aspect of entrepreneurship is something that you can take into your job so well. Even big companies who back in the day would never even think about not doing business the old way, they're realizing that it's much better to disrupt their own business models than for a smaller competitor to do it for them. Because if a smaller competitor does it for you and disrupts your business model, you could go broke and you can go out of business. But if you do it for yourself, then your big company stays in business, because you are the ones who know. You're the ones who who can now serve even in the new industry that you've created as you disrupted your old one. So this is how you should think. Many companies are now rewarding people to do this. I know big companies that have innovation budgets now, and they're really saying to their people, come on guys, innovate, learn how to innovate, learn how to innovate. And the second thing that you can do, that entrepreneurs do, is they build their career around their superpower. Now, marketers will say, oh, you got something that you know how to do, that's your unique selling proposition or whatever. I call it a superpower. That's more cool. When you build entrepreneurs, one of the things that entrepreneurs know is that they have a knack for finding out what they're good at and then building everything around that thing. So they hire people to cover their weaknesses, and they hire people to accentuate that strength that they've identified in themselves, their superpower. They don't concentrate on other things. The good entrepreneurs know how to build around their superpower. You can do this in your internal team. You can start, even, let's say you're just a middle manager of a small team. You can make the rest of your team people who can accentuate your strengths, but you have to identify that superpower. That's why I always talk about finding your purpose, finding your strengths, finding your gifts, doing stuff like a personality test, doing things, all, understanding strength tests, personality profile. They get you to see what is your superpower. Because if your superpower is that you're a geek, then you can stay in the geeky stuff and then get the rest of your team to do all the other things, and you concentrate on what you're good at. And that is something that will do you well even in your career, in a job. And the last thing that a way entrepreneurs think that I recommend that you do is that entrepreneurs, they follow the money. Entrepreneurs have a nose for the money. They know where money is being spent, and they turn their businesses to face and focus where the money is. If you're in a job and you don't even know like how your business makes its money, what your core business bread and butter is, then you won't know how to make yourself relevant to that. Even if you work in the IT department, even if you work in the customer service department, whatever, know how what you do correlates to how the business makes money. Because when you do that, you will be able to preempt when things are going badly. Because trust me, if that business stops making money, or like that core business activity stops making money, the first people to go are going to be you. Like people who don't know how, and you don't even know how to relate what you do to how the business makes money. And another place to look at this, another skill of following the money, is you should know where the money in your organization is. Have a nose for that money that's in your organization. When I was in a certain company, I was in IT. I'd got into IT because at the time IT was a highly paid thing. A new IT director then joined, and he kind of started. He released a budget for our department, and it was like, okay, this department has about £80 million as their budget. Now I did some maths there. Our IT department had about 700 people, and so I thought, so really, there's a budget of 80 million that's going to be divided between about 700 people. But when I saw a statement that was released by the CEO of the whole company, he was talking about how there were some new projects that were being done where they were like exploring new ways of making money. And those projects, over a 5-year period, were going to have about £2 billion allocated to them. And I looked at that department, and there were about 100 people there. So let's say that's about 400 million in a year, because it's 2 million over 5 years, 2 billion over 5 years. I thought about this and I said, okay, in my department that I'm in, there's a budget of 80 million and only 700 people. And then in that department, there's these projects, they are 400 million going to be allocated among less than 100 people. It was a no-brainer. My question was, how do I become a project manager? I need to go learn how to be a project manager so I can get into those projects. How can I leverage my IT skills that I have in here and just get out of there? And within 1 year, I had left IT and I was now in projects doing those projects. This is just a way to think. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're an intrapreneur, you think like an entrepreneur, it will help you even in your career. So are you an entrepreneur, guys? Are you that? Find out what makes you special in your company and use those skills. Bring your genius to work every day. Don't just like sign in. Don't just clock in for the sake of it. It's not going to help. So again, thank you guys. I hope you're having a good week. Make sure you like the page, like my page, like this video. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.